So I just want to address some of the things that were said in Catherine's live stream. And I only caught the last half hour or so of it, and I wrote some things and she responded to some of them. And later I listened to the other part, and other people made some great points. I don't have Telegram, so I'm not willing to get Telegram just to download all of that. I just want to address some stuff. But if you want to see the whole thing, other people are going to make compilation videos and or download the whole thing, and hopefully with the chat attached as well. And so please check that out. But I just want to address the things that were said to me and also other things I noticed that I think are worth addressing. And please bear with me that if you hear explosions, it's fireworks in my town. So, and by the way, the reason that's going on is because I'm in America. And this will bring me to my first point. Catherine was stating that anybody that has a parody account, from the Ghost of James Uganda to me, we're all Luna. She said Luna just has a bazillion sock puppets and she gets on her laptop and that's what she does. And she's always on Kiwi Farms, yada yada. Well, guess what? No, Luna was prepping for trial, and she's pretty damn busy. And she's in hiding. She's not doing any of that. And I know I'm not Luna. And I know that anybody that, doesn't need to consult an auditory specialist can hear that I'm not Luna. So your next quip, when that didn't work, when I was on there saying I'm not Luna, was to state that I should be stating my name and showing my face. I really need to be doing that. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm the target demographic of the kind of people that Gaddis Langston feels comfortable attacking. And he feels pretty comfortable doxing, attacking, and threatening people right in your face in writing, in video form. So somebody like that is pretty dangerous, and that's the only reason I don't do it. I'm not ashamed of anything I'm saying or doing. I am using my own voice, though, and I'm clearly not Luna. So there's that. Which brings me to another point, which is that anyone who says anything that you're trying to counter and say is afactual, you say that that information came from Luna and it's just a big lie. Wrong. Anything where I'm speculating, I state that I'm speculating. And anything where I'm not speculating, I usually have documentation to prove it up, or I cite where that information came from. For example, the thing you couldn't really touch with a 10-foot pole that I brought up the warrant out of Offenburg, Germany, when you wanted to say over and over and over again that Bell had nothing to do with the crime and that that just came from Luna, and that's a big lie. Wrong. That didn't come from Luna. Judge Adiaman is not Luna. That court document that we have that has both Marina Abdullah and Gaddis Laxton's on it came from Offenburg, Germany, and we found the court it came from. It came from District Court 2. There's a criminal court, and then there's also the investigative court. And those would be the people investigating the crime. The other judge listed is over juvenile offenses, which fits Angelina. And that document brings up all of those people. They lived in Germany, and we found that it's the exact same region that they lived in, Marina's family. So they wanted to talk to her, and they can't because she's hiding with her boyfriend. Her husband and her daughter did the crime. So yeah, that didn't come from Luna. That came from the court. And the videotape of her husband and daughter committing the attack didn't come from, we saw Luna being attacked in that video, but that's not just Luna telling me that happened. We saw it. Ilias talked to law enforcement. He's pleading guilty, for God's sakes. And he talked about what Gaddis did to him. And he talked about his wife. So that's where we got that information. These are all legal documents. And that's why I said, do you read court docs? And your cutesy pie cultish comeback of "you're not a slave" was really interesting and tells me something about you. See, there are lots of cults who think that anybody who actually looks into things and knows about things and knows how to do things is a slave. The reason they want you to believe that is so that you won't go and do anything that you should be doing. And this didn't all start with Gaddis, the little cult you belong to, because that same rhetoric, go look up Robert Anton Wilson, go look up Charles Manson, go look up Scientology, go look up any of that crap. Hook, line, and sinker, you're buying the whole thing, and that's on you. But you know what that Turkish proverb says? It says, no matter how long you've gone down the wrong road, it's never too late to turn around. So I hope you remember that at some point in your life because you are going down the wrong road, but it's on you to do something about it. It's not on other people, and you are grown. So if you have the capacity to do it, you should. And I'll add to that that in the interest of, kindness and decency, I was angry seeing what you were doing, slandering Luna, and things in written form are libel, titles of videos, really ridiculous behavior from you. But I do think there's a possibility that you're being blackmailed into this behavior, and, you could be under duress of your family's life or your own being threatened. And you're saying you're not, but whatever, you could be. And that being said, I would feel bad about being angry I'm not a cruel person. I don't like hurting other people. I really don't. That's why I dislike so much what you're doing. It makes me very upset thinking about somebody fighting to get the truth out, fighting for their life, having surgeries to fight for their health so they can take care of their kid. And look at what you're doing. You don't have to be doing any of that. And I think even if somebody were threatening you, he already did that to you. It's still okay to go to Team Good Guy, and you don't have to be super overt about anything, but you could covertly assist, or you could just simply be quiet. Either one of those things would be better than what you're doing. What you're doing is plain evil, pure and simple, sick behavior. So either you are sick or you're being harangued by someone who's sick and you're doing it under duress. But you seem pretty giggly and okay to me, so it's sickening. There's something extremely wrong with you. And speaking of which, that kind of ties back into that cult thing I was talking about. That forgiveness bit you were on in the earlier part of the show, you were doing that quite a bit. And I've heard this from other people, and I always know what it is when I hear it. See, you're really confused. Forgiveness would be twofold. It would be, on the one hand, somebody does something terrible to you, and you don't hold on to it. They say, like, hatred is drinking poison, hoping the other guy dies. So that's bad for you, and you don't do that. Whatever you can do to deal with the situation, you do it, and then you move on with your life, and you don't sit there hanging on to anger. That's a type of forgiveness. And then there's also the type where people that do wrong things really are sorry. They really are redeeming themselves. They really have had an awakening about changing their behavior. And that kind of a person can maybe even stay in your life, be forgiven. That's not the case with somebody like him, and that's not the case with somebody like you, apparently. So you don't have the capacity to right now look at this and say that it's sick behavior and that you shouldn't be doing it. Well, then people don't need to. You're coming back and canceling your live stream and then saying you're so sorry. Well, you're not sorry for the right things. You should be sorry about that entire live stream and all this crappy behavior. And you're actually trying to say like you're responsible for Luna's attack. And that's actually not what you're responsible for. So it's just all the way around mindfuck. Gaddis is responsible for that attack, and you did go and tell the authorities about it. Whether you did that just to save yourself or to because you really wanted it not to happen, no one knows. But that was a good thing that you did. What you're doing now is sick, and there's nothing to forgive if you're actually still behaving like a sick person. Those kinds of people just need to be treated as such, as you're sick, and there's no point in dealing with you. And you can't really be sorry and be still lying. So there's that. And let's reiterate that you said you came and you created that stream to be supportive of him, a man who won't turn himself in. He is wanted. And he's not wanted because we don't have the ability to forgive people who are sorry for bad behavior and we want to see terrible things happen to people for no reason. He's wanted because he's dangerous. He's dangerous to a child. And you didn't really bring up that little boy except when you were trying to slander Luna. And the only place you got that information about Luna when somebody pressed you on it and said, "How do you know this?" A friend told you. Well, that's not evidence. That's what you're accusing people like myself and the ghost of James Uganda of doing, of just getting information from Luna and spreading it around. But that's not what we're doing. That's what you're doing, though, and I don't think any friend told you that, by the way. That's just what you say. You say someone told you this, and you're stating it as a fact. The only reason you even went further into where you got the information from was people were calling you out on it. When you were accusing Luna of being a child molester, which I'm only going to phrase that way one time because it is a lie. As far as anyone knows, she's never done any such thing. And I want to make something really clear to you. Do you know that if she had been doing any such thing as Gaddis accused her of, and he accused her of that right when she wouldn't take her Patreon down and he threatened to make a video about her. The whole conversation between Luna and Gaddis was him bitching about her having a Patreon, and if she wouldn't take it down, he was going to make a video. And in the video, he called her a child molester. Well, guess what? There's no other evidence besides that of her being one, except people like him and you doing that. But Gaddis has video after video after video talking about it being natural and normal to molest children. And add to that the fact that if he knew about that and didn't turn it in, he's culpable. You know, parents have been accused if somebody does get convicted of such a thing and they were there knowing it was going on, they've been convicted along with the other parent who was doing it for not doing anything about it. So, what do you think about that, Catherine? I guess we have two people that did something like that, if she did, but she didn't. But he certainly is a danger to doing something like that. In fact, very, very recently, April 2023, he was talking about buying children in Afghanistan to ride them, 12-year-olds, 15-year-olds. 1 and 2 year olds. Do you have a problem with that? Because I brought that up on your live stream. What about him making all of that kind of content? And you said, well, because he thought that the elites were doing it and they were enlightened or something along those lines. I'm paraphrasing. Yeah, you didn't say you thought it meant that he was a sicko and that maybe he's lying, that maybe he's the one that has a penchant for doing something like that. You don't seem to care too much about that. You slander Luna and then you're oh so sorry. It's garbage. So you made a point also, at one point you said you had no friends, at another point you were accusing people of having no life. But the reality is the reason you might not have any friends is because people don't like being treated like garbage by you. And, you could feel sorry for people like Gaddis or you for having mental problems. That's really not your fault. People have things wrong with them. But when they're dangerous to other people and they're not going to change, then you have to worry about them because you worry about the people they're going to hurt. And that's what the issue is. It's not a matter of punishing anyone, it's a matter of stopping them so that other people can live their life, people who are innocent and who haven't bothered anyone. And you don't get to decide whose life has worth. And when you want to inject chaos into somebody's life who's fighting for their life and who has every right to, have this trial be something they can focus on with the facts coming out and not a bunch of dumb, weird distractions. And also making people unsafe is outrageous. Not really caring about that little boy. That little boy is a potential victim of murder and there's someone raising funds right now, just like they did before, right before they tried to have them murdered. That's what he's accused of. He hasn't stood trial yet, so I'm not doing something wrong by stating that I believe he did it. I know that's what he's accused of. I know they want to talk to him about it. Nobody on the end of trying to help Luna is doing anything wrong. But you certainly did something wrong today and yesterday, and good that you're maybe going to stop. But what exactly is wrong with you? I just really don't know, and I don't really need to know. I just wanted to address how sick all of that is. It's just outrageous, really. You're young, you haven't yet had a situation like what Lynn does, and you should be grateful that you got out of that unscathed. And you're not smart enough to be grateful. You're coming back doing more weird, evil shit, and you shouldn't be.